Good evening and welcome to a continuation of a scene where people were playing chess and some of the people need to leave for well, their haven that is outside the city. It's close by, but it takes a while to get home before the sun rises. But for those who have havens or live within the city, still have plenty of hours to spend in the night. And as vampire Canaanites normally do, they do like to converse and share gossip. What exactly they're doing at this moment, we are about to find out. Madeline has just seen off Ulrich and Irene. She seems a little, as she turns around and walks back in, she seems a little, not a lot, but a little annoyed about something, but her face quickly changes and she has that normal, welcoming smile on her face. She just sits down and just looks at them and just says, "Well, I do believe that if anyone wishes, we can have a chess game, but I would all like to ask, have any of you heard of any, what shall we say, decision on Nagasi's case? It was quite disturbed."
Watching the scene, I understood that word was to be put out immediately. So, I think we can probably know. Let me ask real fast.
Well, Madeline will just look around. I have not heard of any. Well, as you know, I'm sometimes quite enamored with my work. I may not have heard yet. It still troubles me that a breach of the silence of the blood could happen in a way such as that.
I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage, as I've only just arrived.
Well, in that regard, you can be quite happy that you arrived when you did. I did not partake in well, is that what was to be a wedding celebration among the kind of the city turned into a quite horrible scene when the couple that was wed was attacked by, well, I do not know what exactly it is. Apparently, it is a bloodline of the Ebony Kingdom, brought here by an old grudge between one of the city's residents and their kind.
Is that so?
It was quite a stir. Quite a few people saw something that they were not supposed to see. I know that the sheriff has been busy. Such things can never bode well, especially when it is under the purview of a member of the city recognized within it.
I imagine this has been handled rather swiftly yet.
I have not heard of it since. So yes, I would very much assume that that has happened. No rumors around the city regarding this. However, someone is going to have to pay for that. Well, it is of no consequence. Apparently, I must simply listen better.
I shall certainly keep an ear out. If I hear anything, I'll let you know.
I am concerned. It was a horrible event. Gatherings like this are so much more pleasant and so much more relaxed.
Indeed. Are you concerned or vengeful? How do you like Nagasi as a man?
I find him approachable.
Approachable.
Not all gangrel are freely and openly taken to merriment and partake in the most social of affairs. Some of them tend to keep to themselves for, as far as I understand, centuries at a time. So, in that regard, he is very approachable, very friendly, very open. And Lady Julia is also a pleasant figure to talk to.
Yes, I
It's
found the gangrel of Odessa to be charming.
Charming, you say?
Hang on, I have to go kill Nelson in the chat. There's a turkey coming his way. Johanna looks briefly distracted by her own salt.
Well, let us not talk such things. Let us talk of more joyous things. New arrivals, new friends to be made. And she just, like, puts out a hand and just gestures over to Ulrich and just... It would seem that we perhaps, maybe not entirely, but closely, share the same land of origin.
Is this so?
Is Madeline French too?
She is Franken.
Oh, for
That's-
heaven's sakes. Johanna's just going to sit back and hope they start speaking French so she can enjoy the prettiness.
I
I don't know French. Please don't do this to me.
No, I can speak very, very little French. Only Nelson here is naturally gifted in that, since he is from France. But she will in Franken just say it's. I am from a bit more south than Normandy, but still within the Franken land, as you can probably tell.
Always pleasant to, and again in French. Always pleasant to meet a neighbor. And
Quite so.
he'll very, very, very gently take her hand when she offers it out, and will very politely kiss her knuckles.
She returns a smile at that, and she will just say, "Well, it was quite difficult and long journey to the Holy Land. I hope that yours was not too troubling."
Bit of a snag in Florence. Otherwise, Constantinople was lovely.
I've heard only good things. I have never been there myself. You should perhaps talk to...
Constantinople is...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Is a roaring, beautiful place. Its own beauty, I should say.
Ulrich has spent quite a lot of time in that grand city. Perhaps you could swap stories if you wished.
the very least, gives the Baron and I something to discuss.
Prince now.
Prince, pardon.
Yes. Well,
Though it seems he intends to run his princedom as a satellite, perhaps, of Odessa.
well, I do believe that both places will benefit quite a bit of the
Yes.
trading. It would take quite a few years for the mortal populace to build up to that, I would think. But there are perhaps other things we should take into consideration before that. But Aldrich, I must say there's only a few members of your clan I have met in person and had long talks to.
Well, given the nature of where things seem to be, much like several other clans, we have a tendency to be a bit reclusive, one could say.
But I hope you will not be a stranger. Not while you're in Odessa.
Oh, not while there's still business to be had and people to be met.
I hope you'll find that you have friends here.
I do believe I do, Miss Johanna de Guimarães.
Joanna's lovely company, and well, while not in this, perhaps not in this city, other places, the two of you would be considered, well, allies.
Johanna's going to say, with a certain amount of very genteel smugness, but of course that's irrelevant here. In the sort of tone that says that's not at all irrelevant here.
Quite so. Quite so. This city is completely isolated from the troubles that plague the Holy Land and seemingly the rest of the known world.
Though I will say that it is important to watch your manners, even if hostilities have ceased here. It is easy to give offense without meaning, as I've found.
And easy to overstay one's boundaries.
Just gonna perception empathy that. For reasons. Are we in a dice roller?
I
Sorry.
I don't know if we are set one up.
Okay. What's the scene name? I'm just gonna stick us in there. Oh, you got it.
Ooh.
Okay, Robbie?
Yeah. No, I was going to say I just ended the other scene in 3, but... I cannot wait until I have a good measure of when to apply coldly logical and when not to.
Oh, drop my...
This might actually. I mean, you can roll as well, and I would say it applies here.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose I'll always ask and leave it up to the other person
I
in
mean,
question.
I'm not contesting it, so like, I'll just write scene starts. And, there we go.
3 successes. 4 successes.
Yeah. 4 successes. Wow. Okay. It's kind of there is more than one thing in it. at first you'll see that Madeline just smiles and just looks at.
Oh shit! Margaret has 4 successes, 3 tens.
Okay, and she just for a second just looks at Joanna. For like a couple of seconds, you can see that she's staring, like looking a bit at Joanna, like she's almost shaking her head, although her head isn't moving. And then it's like she remembers something, and she just says, "Indeed." As an addition, she just says, "Quite a few people overstay their boundaries sometimes, even though they think they are in the best of reasons to do so." And she like, you get like a hint of annoyance, and it's not necessarily directed at Joanna.
Johanna's lips twitch thinly, and she gives a tip of her head like she's conceding the point.
What?
I'm afraid Ulrich and I shall never be friends. But
Well, it was. She just again looks at Joanna and just says, "Clan of Sombra, well, I would not say that we owe you anything, but an apology would not be amiss for one person."
she pauses and
You specifically can tell that she's probably speaking of someone else than Ulrich. Someone starting with an O who owns a certain establishment. That's
her brows shoot straight up, and she makes a gesture with her hand that is supposed to be kind of negligent and supposed to be kind of tossing it off, but it does not seem at all negligent. Again, it seems like it's actually kind of indicating the opposite. She says, "I think we shall have to speak of that more later. If I owe an apology..."
No. He owes you an apology.
Ah, I see.
I knew
I
you would.
see.
I figured that you misunderstood that one, but you know what she's thinking about, and it's not necessarily something to do with you that she's annoyed about.
Sure. Ulrich has every reason to be uncomfortable around me. I should not expect otherwise. But I will endeavor to watch my words more closely. And just because we are not friends, not mean we need be enemies.
Indeed, ma'am. Well, I must say it is strange for your shadow to. I have never seen it in someone not of my blood. It is strange.
It has vexed me since my change, and continues to. I've told Orsini that for all his maneuverings, if he should find a cure, he should have my deepest gratitude.
Well, if there is anyone in this city who would know of a cure, it is Orsini. That much is certain. He is a
So
learned
this,
man. Oh, I apologize. Please, go on.
so this Orsini fancies himself a healer.
Not at all.
Yes.
No, he doesn't. She just smiles to Joanna. He is my brother. One of the more, well, a scholar of less conventional things. He is quite obsessed with it, really, but in this endeavor, he might actually be able to mend Joanna's condition, since he knows more of our clan's more, what shall we call it, unique aspects than anyone else does.
He owns a brothel. And if what ails you is a desire for the tender touch of flesh, he would be more than happy to provide a cure.
Well, there is that as well.
Can't say that that is something that I suffer from.
Then I should be very wary about his establishment. As I've told others, and she nods towards Margot with a tip of her head.
Margot.
He is a consummate host, gracious in every way, and extravagant in his generosity, and yet something of a tyrant within his own walls. Do I speak fairly, Madeline?
You do him justice. What's worse, he would probably agree with you as well.
Is that worse?
What? Perhaps it is not. It is just being who I am, as I told you before. Being a spokesperson, a diplomat for our clan. Him and I are almost diametrically opposed in our workings for our clan. His outbursts and certain flair for causing drama is something that to me to fix.
Everything
She
I
gestures.
makes
Sorry,
him.
go ahead.
Sure, yes, well, every time I hear of him, it makes him more interesting. I shall most look forward to meeting him.
Well, I can only say that probably not bring up the, well, do not bring up religion, and you will do quite well with it.
I am not one to bring up the subject of religion unless it is brought to me.
I am constantly amazed of how many people of our kind and of the normal kind in the city that thinks of bringing up religion without realizing just how much conflict, war, and unpleasantness it brings.
Oh, but to be so close to the Holy Land, and to have an aversion to such topic of conversation, why that sounds certainly problematic.
Well, I would not say that he has an aversion. He's just his reactions to anyone confessing belief is not necessarily a pleasant one. He will discuss it at length. I just would advise to probably not make that the topic of one's first discussion with him.
I appreciate the advice.
Well, that is why I'm here. But I must say, my clan is neutral in these affairs of this war. It is neutral in what regards to this. I assume that it has not caused that the war and that you have not been discomforted in any way, other than perhaps a glance or upfurled brow. Nothing more unpleasant has been directed towards you, I trust.
Well, to say that there are clans that view Clan Tremere unfavorably be an understatement.
Quite so.
Beyond a raised brow and a few cursory insults. No, it's been surprisingly pleasant, I must admit.
Such is what peace brings us, the luxury of pleasantness.
Yes, well said.
It,
And the security of our own other luxuries.
I would contend that it also makes us dull and unprepared for certain things that is an inevitable part of our existence. But oh well, I am certain that most people are quite tired of me preaching.
I should warn you both that Madeline has never been dull a day in her life, and will never be dull in the future.
And even among the Toreador, it is quite rare to find such a civic tongue, such a good flatterer. And she smiles to she smiles to Joanna and just nods very slightly. Just, well, yeah, I must say, once the last time I was staying in the city for a longer period, when I was acting as seneschal under Ulrich, I did meet one of your clan. He was an interesting man. You did not, I did not know him too well, but that's interesting, I must say. That for successes, people can make, if they want to, a perception empathy roll, and I would say that coldly logical applies.
So we have to bid for success.
Yeah, I think Madeline is the defender in this case.
That is quite a good roll, Madeline.
The Lighthammer sees all, yes.
5 successes.
I just have two.
You get the impression that Madeline, like, it's the way she describes it, she had maybe one conversation with this guy, maybe two. She, like, you catch that she might have had a bit more. She might know this guy a little bit better than what she's letting on.
Oh.
For whatever reason, she's saying that she didn't. Whatever the reason. There can be many, of course.
Not too dull, I would hope, as many of us consider ourselves scholars.
Not at all. You do not know yourself if you have spent much time with my clan, but I myself consider myself a scholar as well.
From the way you speak, I would take you for a poet.
I thank you. But I do enjoy reading poetry. I do enjoy reading in general. So few have this talent, so few have access, so few can do it. I learned it in my mortal days. But I take full advantage of it. Read as much as I can. And given the fact that I am glad I am, well, I am sure you can imagine that there are certain books of, well, less conventional fare that I tend to look quite deeply in.
Hmm. So,
You say you are a scholar. May I ask what field you study? What field interests you?
As I said, quite a few. My clan's rather unique perspective on certain things concerns me quite a bit, but also the nature of our kind, the nature of other clans, and other things that is very rarely seen by, well, kind or some Canaanites. There are many of us that do not have much regard, or do not hold studying or the mystical aspects of this world in very high regard. I do, as I am sure that you would also say, Ulrich.
and he nods.
Margot, are you a scholar?
And she'll put her finger on her chin. Not sure I would consider myself a scholar, but as I have stated before, although maybe not in, although not in front of you yet, Audrey, but unlike, well, quite unusually for my clan, I have traveled. I spent most of my life traveling, and I like to keep an a record of how everything is, how the land, the lay of the lands. I study their, I study their how our land is set. The very land we sit on, not only Europe, although I have spent many years in Europe. I like to study the entire world. Not so much a, not so much a scholar, but more of a, I shall think, geographer.
You see, Madeline, these are the fruits of peace. It's so hard to be a scholar on a battlefield.
Quite so. But a good scholar knows how to avoid the battlefields and be in some secluded place, quiet and quite comfortable, reading their books.
I suppose there are always books to read. But to have the opportunity to sit among wise people, well-traveled, experienced, this is a fruit of peace.
I would agree with you, which is why I so do enjoy this place. To a certain extent. Peace teaches many things, but sometimes conflict is required.
Of course.
But again, you notice, you bring out the best and the worst of me, Joanna. I seem to always preach when I am with you.
She's not going to make a nun joke because she loves Madeline. Unlike Nelson, who doesn't love me.
And I do! I couldn't resist the joke.
When have I brought out the worst in you, Madeline? I have not seen it. You've disguised it well.
Well, there are some that consider preachings, especially of me, as to be somewhat dull.
I'm certain no one in this company does.
Hmm. Well, we have one who I can bother all over again since he has so very little he has heard from me. He smiles over at Ulrich and just, um, I know that most people consider their roads their own philosophy is a private matter, but I tend to spread my knowledge, wisdom, and that which should be shared with others as much as I can. But I can understand if some are either taken aback by my somewhat rash straightforwardness when I sometimes try to educate them. I will admit it is a bit crash, but I must apologize in advance if I will do this with you at one time or the other.
Not at all. While admittedly there are many things I'm still learning within my own road. Journey I'm undertaking that many of us are. We're still learning, experiencing.
As we all are.
Unless we've grown terribly dull.
I don't think any members of our kind should be dull. They don't own a corridor.
Well, there are those who manage anyway.
How awful. We
Well,
are given we are given what seems like at least eternity. Why spend it in dullness?
Indeed. Wise words. And this world is certainly dangerous enough to provide interest to anyone who goes looking. Is there anything particular that you study, Aldrich, with great passion?
Well, in my time as a scribe, I studied much of the sciences, and in my immortal days, I spent many a year studying the arts.
What arts?
Great.
The written and the, I suppose you could say, spoken. There was a time when I visited many a stage.
Question in the side chat. Maybe a long question in the side chat.
All right.
Okay, so she would have known a Tremere in the past that was a poet, yes?
Indeed. By the
Okay.
name of...
Say it again.
Euphoria?
Always say it.
Where is it? Gauchard de Berdeau.
Okay. So she's going to turn with an absolutely glimmering smile and tip her head in approval. I have known another Tremere who is a poet. It is a pleasure to meet a second.
Is that so?
Yes, we were pen pals for many years. I very much like to write to those abroad, to hear of other places in unfamiliar seasons. But there's no joy greater than hearing from a poet.
Almost sounded like pirate for a second, but that's okay.
Sorry,
And hearing from a pirate.
it wasn't. That would be
I'm hearing
hilarious.
from a pirate.
Well,
Sorry, I'm bad at derailing.
well,
When,
having read poetry to her, I know that this is very much the case for Joanna. She does appreciate it quite deeply.
aha! Snaps and points. I knew you were a poet.
Well, cannot say that I have penned so many wonders myself, but I do enjoy the work of some of them, I must admit.
Well, in the event that you would try your hand, I would certainly love to hear you share.
I shall have to invite you both over some evening. I must highly recommend Madeline's poetry reading.
You flatter me. Once again.
Ah, we shall see. We shall see. I think that our Tremere shall be the judge of that, and will find that it is not flattery but fact.
Truly an
No.
amazing thing, no? To have a Tremere judge poetry for a Toreador. I would quite expected it to be the other way around, but alas.
If you will not take my word for it, I must call in a judge.
Very well, I conceded.
Margot, I hope you will attend as well.
I shall nod. Oh, I thank you for inviting me. I shall look to Aldrich. If I may, I would like to assist Aldrich in judging the
Please.
performance of Madeleine.
And I shall be proved an honest woman once more.
Let us hope the pressure does not get to me. But yes,
I have no fear. I have seen you under pressure and you were gracious.
well, that was a dinner. That was a different story, really.
Well,
Besides, we can both agree, as we just talked about not only one night ago, that I had a certain relief of pressure when I was allowed to do well. She just smiles.
wait, what did she just say?
She's referring to that one pressure situation that they had together. She had a certain release of pressure when she smashed her head
Oh,
into
okay.
tried to use you as a battling ramp, but yeah. But she doesn't say that, of course. She just smiles at me.
Johanna also does not mention to present company that she has been used as a battering ram. She just laughs and concedes the point again with the tip of her head. Indeed.
But I must say that was one of the more interesting nights of recent memory, for me at least. I'm so glad that whole problem got resolved.
Yes, I found the resolution a far more interesting night, if we are being frank. She has kind of a cat-like smile. Like the cat with a feather in its mouth. Alas. I shall have to apologize to Ulrich somehow. His fledgling is a sweet girl. And clever.
And stronger than she appears.
Yes. Yes, and as I believe we've spoken before, flexible. I certainly meant neither threat nor insult. Not ever to her.
I hope you can explain that to him when we meet each other at the Lyceum. However,
Do you think it's worth it?
well, I just remembered something. We have
What is
other
that?
people to discuss it with.
Oh?
She leans in and just says, Margot, I will ask you first. If a man gives you a beautiful dress, a most wonderful dress, one of the most beautiful, best crafted dresses you have ever seen, but he asks of a very high price, by most standards, a higher price than you would pay, and you would waver and not be sure to accept it. You would simply, as any purchaser of anything, would give it time to consider. Would you then believe the giver of such gift in his right to be angry with you?
Don't think. He's right to be angry with him. I'm not sure if, well, as much as we did not control our emotions, control what we feel, not sure if, in this case at least, he would have the right to be angry at me. He simply made me an offer, and I took my time looking at it. It's, if you make an offer, I think it should be, you should be prepared for any answer he gives you, whether that answer is yes or no, as long as it is done with politeness, as long as the person does not refuse with a lack of manners.
Madeline looks at her for a moment. You'll notice that Madeline, for the first time, her smile doesn't go away, but she just kind of like relaxes a bit in her face, if you can say that. She just nods a little, looks to Joanna and just says, "Your sister, she speaks quite true. Who is to say that we can control our emotions at all times?"
Indeed. It is wisdom. An important wisdom. I
So
hold.
Have you given thought to the gift?
Yes. Yes, a great deal. I think, in fact, our conversation today has produced a solution that will not be found insulting.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
Nor will it necessarily please.
Very few things do. She just says with a little upgiving smile. She just kind of seems a little bit, little upgiving at that point when you say that.
Well, I should not like to disappoint him.
Oh, you will.
Really, just you're correct.
Would almost bet that you will, but yeah, that is simply experience talking.
Alas, I must bow to your greater experience in this matter.
Do consider that the blame does not rest on you in this matter.
Oh, I do. The funny thing about blame is how little importance it really has in our nights.
Indeed.
Particularly when we cannot control our emotions.
There are quite the difference you can see. There are those who would stand around for hours, using their energy and their time to see where the blame should be lied. And then there are the people who have already fixed the problem arisen from whoever is to blame. When the first group is half done with their discussion of accusations, the other group is ready to move on.
Indeed. What do you think, Margot? I believe the Toreador in this city have been of the latter group, fixing problems without worrying over much about who is to blame first.
From what I have observed, this has been the case, as I have been pleased to find it out.
Have you had a chance to meet with Rosalie?
I see whose character is it.
It's an NPC. It's the Toreador Primogen.
You know, yes, that's right. And say, I unfortunately have not. How silly of me! I have not yet met with our Primogen. I should do so as soon as possible.
I'm certain it's not silly. She's very busy. Do not consider it silly. Though it is certainly something worth sorrowing over. She is very beautiful and very cultured. Worth meeting. Plan extra time.
Until now.
I suppose you've not likely met your primogen in the city, Aldrich? I know nothing of him, her.
I've not, though I plan on making my introduction as soon as possible.
Of course. So you're only recently come to the city. Have you had your interview with the Seneschal yet?
I've not.
Brace yourself. He is also a beautiful man.
Oh,
There's
that's the only thing I
a
should
look.
be.
I think I should actually roll for that. Actually.
Okay. Is that subterfuge or peony?
You would be rolling peony.
Okay. I will safely guess that coldly logical does not apply here.
No, it does. It does. It applies here.
Okay.
Madeline, that's only 2 successes for you.
I haven't rolled.
Oh shit.
Sorry. If you are rolling against Johanna, she only has 2 successes for you, 3 successes for everyone else.
Damn. I'm beat.
And it's perception, empathy? Or
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4! Yay!
Nice.
Well, that's probably for the best.
1.
What do you have? Okay. So only Margot sees the fact that Johanna is completely smitten with the Seneschal. She has a raging crush, as only a Toreador can.
Margot will just smile as Johanna mentions the Seneschal.
Yeah, that's all. She just sits there smiling placidly, hiding her feelings.
Is that all I should be braced for? Yeah. Merely his beauty. Or the handsomeness in this instance.
Oh, I suppose he's also a little abrasive. He is a powerful man, accustomed to power, and as such can... She actually seems like she has no words. She spent the whole scene in a Toreador stupor and just remembers that, man, he was great. I was great. I was fantastic.
if anyone has seen Futurama, it was the Hypnotoad's victims. It's like,
Oh no!
it was like the Hypnotoad. And then Jonna was just like, yes, you are fucking magnificent. That was almost.
Oh no. I can't think of anything in particular, but it is not a meeting you're likely to forget soon.
He has a certain air to him.
How would you describe it?
He is of great age. That means that you need to be able to carry yourself with at least some air of, well, some regality to yourself. And, well, he is, as you said, a powerful person. It does come with certain things. He has done this city done great things for this city, and really, I see him. Well, given the fact that he is the grandsire of Ulrich, well, that should say quite a lot already.
I suppose it then helps that I didn't make a foul impression this evening.
I do not know. Well, I do not know if I would consider them close, but we do share blood. All of us.
From one who has frequently made the same mistake, I shall suggest that you do not endeavor to make a foul impression on Ulrich at any point. I do not know what tendrils he still reaches into the city, but I should be certainly surprised if they were small or inconsequential.
I do believe that he will be most concerned with his own princedom for the foreseeable future.
Do you?
Very much so.
No, don't think so.
Hannah glances sorry for the noise, oh my goodness, at Madeline and gives her a fond smile and tips her head. Kind of a, if you say so, it must be true sort of look.
Well, the fact that he seems to have some grave concerns for the future and what dangers there might be for Edessa and the surrounding cities, I suppose that he is concerned with everyone. He has always been, but the fact that he sets up the Elysium in his, he has invited us to come, but at least suggest that he is somewhat concentrated on this. I do not share minds with Ulrich. I do not know what his intentions are. And if I did, I would likely not be discussing them here.
No, that is wise. As private as this place is, well, it is best to let a man speak his own mind, I suppose.
Exactly.
She shrugs. Well then, scholars, travelers, poets, What a fortunate little group has gathered here.
Quite so. Ulrich, I'm interested. You can still bake?
Not near as much as I did in my living days.
Well,
Or
if you would
Reason.
at some point return, or at least for my sake, do this again, I would love to taste something you would, if it is at all possible, and it is something you are willing to do, of course.
yeah, raises a brow and laces his fingers together and very politely puts the laced gathering of fingers on the table with a smile. I would be more than happy to indulge, especially in an evening with friends, with poetry and wine.
This arrangement is improving, getting better and better by the sounds of it. A baker who knows his craft, poets. Next thing you know, we will have answers. We will have. Who only knows? What we
Sorry,
might
what was
end
the
up
last word she said?
with. She said, who only knows what we will end up
Oh.
with if we proceed to let our imaginations run with us.
Johanna currently looks like her world could not be a better place. If there are others you know of, perhaps you will pass their names on to me, other poets. We shall make an evening of it.
Yes, I actually know a man by the name of Guichard de Bordeaux.
Johanna's head comes up very quickly. Who's in the city?
Indeed.
No.
You know him? I will roll manip sub on that shit.
Okay, hang on. What do we... Is it wit subterfuge? For a lie? I guess it is. Oh, do we do that here, or we do perception empathy to see a lie?
If it's a lie, it's perception empathy,
Okay.
Yeah, it's
then you
lovely.
can spot that he's lying, I think.
This is... Oh,
Or successes.
oh.
One, damn it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
She's going-
Johanna. Yeah, she somehow gets the feeling he knows, you know.
She stares at him for just a second, and then, but she also is well aware that he has intentionally concealed the fact, and she's not going to give it away. So she simply tips her head and says, I know him with great fondness. I hope that you will pass my greetings on to him. I should be more than delighted to receive him at any time he wished.
I should hope to speak with him once leaving this establishment, and I'll see if perhaps I could arrange a meeting.
Please. My mission, oh fuck, what's the word? Pilgrimage. I suppose mission is the best word. My mission is known in the city as a place where I can be found, or those who know where I am can be found. She will briefly describe the location. I shall give his name to the porter as someone expected at his convenience.
I will inform him post haste.
Thank you. I would consider it a gracious favor if you would.
He nods politely.
I suppose I should be going, though. All of you, thank you for a lovely evening. I look forward to another. Perhaps I shall have found a suitably worthy chessboard by then. She rises and offers a deep curtsy to all of them.
Madeline gets up, returns the curtsy. It is a pleasure as always, Jonah. And if not before, we will see each other at the Elysium.
Yes, I hope so. Good evening. She gives a last smile to each of them, just kind of lingers for a minute, and then takes her leave.
But I do believe that the morning is steadily approaching, and I must be making my way home as well.
Yes, me too. If I want to make it my haven before the sun rises, I should get going.
It's been a very good pleasure. All of you. And Madeline will curtsy to all present, and she will, again, graciously curtsy and as well begin to make her way out.
Margot also bow again and smile. And yes, make her way out of the city to, or close. It's out of the city, but not too far. She'll make her way to her haven.
And likewise, Aldrich goes through the motions of standing, pushing in his chair with excellent manners, and will also head back to his domain.
And with that, the scene will come to a close. Thank you very much, players, for playing. Watchers for watching. Good night.